Today, what's that rude noise coming over your headphones? It might be Splitgate 2. This is CheckPoint.
Welcome to CheckPoint. I'm calling it now. The food of the summer is hot dogs and bagged salad.
Oh, that's cool. The freshness of the salad combined with a carnival fun of a hot dog. What prompted that?
It's all I can be bothered to make, Bish. In 2023, EA announced the formation of a new studio, Cliffhanger Games, specifically to develop a Black Panther video game. The studio was headed up by former studio head of Monolith, Kevin Stevens, who oversaw Shadow of Middle-earth and Shadow of Mordor, and I said was at the beginning of that sentence because EA just announced this week that the Black Panther game is cancelled and that Cliffhanger Studios is shuttered. Not content with the plausible deniability of indirectly forcing employees to quit by instating deeply unpopular return-to-office initiatives, EA is also just straight-up closing whole studios. They wouldn't tell IGN exactly how many people this affected, so we'll just remind you that they laid off 300 people last month. But at least those affected can rest easily knowing that, according to an email from EA Entertainment President Laura Miele, all these layoffs will sharpen focus and put creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities, which in today's capitalist hellscape is really the best any of us could hope for.
Flatulence, toots, farts. Whatever you call them, you can now expect to hear the all-too-familiar sphincter vibrations blasting through your headphones if you plan to play Splitgate 2, releasing later this year. And this time, it's not just because your teammates have squatted over their Discord microphone. Oh no, these farts are coming from inside the game. 1047 Games associate producer Jesse Griefenberg recently confirmed on Twitter that there's about a 1% chance of your character passing gas each time you crouch. At this time, we haven't confirmed whether other players can hear you ripping ass or whether the sound of your in-game avatar's butthole is for you alone. Assuming the barking spiders are audible to the enemy team, Games Radar speculates that crop dusting could be used as a distraction play, essentially spraying bombastic gases from one direction and bullets from the other. Besides cuttable cheese, Splitgate 2 promises several improvements over the portal-filled arena shooter from 2019, including new maps, new weapons, and new whatever. Look, the only reason we're even covering this game is because your avatar involuntarily cuts ass. And if that's enough to cut through the noise of other shooters, so much the better. Hang tight until they add shitting your pants to Fortnite, gamers.
Geoguessr will no longer be in the Esports World Cup after players and map makers protested the game's inclusion because the event is being hosted in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In a statement posted on the game's subreddit, an account representing the Geoguessr mapping community wrote that the ECW is a sports washing tool used by the government of Saudi Arabia to distract from and conceal its horrific human rights record. Going on to cite the Saudi government's persecution of women, LGBTQ people, apostates, atheists, political dissenters, migrant workers, religious minorities, and many others, the organization blocked out their maps and replaced the previous locations with random garbage locations, rendering them unplayable until Geoguessr cancels its wildcard event and commits to not hosting events in Saudi Arabia under the current regime. Saudi Arabia and its ruling royal family, the House of Saud, is such a cartoonishly evil state that Americans can justifiably take umbrage with them. Well, actually, don't get too comfortable, Americans. In addition to being dismemberment and slavery enthusiasts, the House of Saud is also extremely tacky, even by the standards of the incomprehensibly rich. Now, in response to all this, Geoguessr CEO and co-founder Daniel Antel posted on Twitter, or X, the everything app, that when you tell us we've got it wrong, we take it seriously, followed by the withdrawal of the game's participation in the EWC. And at the risk of just repeating a statement we found online, this is all cool and good and displays more integrity than UFC, F1, the WWE, and FIFA. Not that any of those organizations set particularly high bars, or any bars at all, but posting it on X subtracts half a point.
Nintendo Switch 2 is nearly here, and with it are the expected worries that consumers just won't understand what to buy. Nintendo has been through this before, after all, with so many people misunderstanding that a Wii and a Wii U are completely different consoles. To combat this confusion, Nintendo has revealed a masterstroke of a plan. Want to see it? Bam! That's it, folks. A great big fucking 2 on the front of the package. This is the Switch 2, the sequel to the Switch. You know, like they do with movies and books and video games. But none of this matters. We already know there's going to be a problem because we've already heard from the soothsayers of console sales, frontline retail workers who are sick of your shit. According to an article from Polygon, retail workers expect there to be a great deal of confusion amongst the hoi polloi because the Switch 2 is packaged in a red box. You know, just like the Switch. Here they are, side by side. And I can hear you shaking your heads. There's no way the masses can fuck this up, you say. But now, think about the last time you worked retail, and you'll agree that if you and I are of average intelligence, then according to eminent statistician George Carlin, that means half the world is stupider than us, and they'll all be in front of you at Best Buy. Though, it doesn't explain how anyone who can't decode numbers ever managed to buy a fucking PlayStation.
Are you getting a Switch 2 at launch?
I thought I was, but according to retail workers, there's a good chance I might accidentally go home with a spiralizer.
Is that some sort of marital aid?
Depends on how fast you can crank it.
Coming up, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has just sold 3.3 million copies in 33 days. Congratulations to the developers on the delightful confluence of sales for this excellent rhythm game. Saudi Arabia, not a nice place.
No, definitely not.
That is not on my, you know, some people are like, I want to see the world. It's like, I personally do not. I have a long list of countries that I refuse to go to.
Yeah. Mine gets updated every so often.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go. I think world travel is important, but I don't think you have to go everywhere.
No, I don't need to see every single country in the world, especially if those countries think that I'm less of a person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed. It's always great to hear a story where we've been set up to do this thing and it's prestigious and it's, Esports World Cup or whatever, like that kind of idea. And the community says, this is dumb. You shouldn't do this for these even though it's like, because it's like, it's political reasons and politics, and it's like, but for them to be like, we don't like that you're doing this. And for that game, that company, that developer, whomever, to turn around and be like, hey, you know what? Okay, we're with you on this. You've got that right. And it's like, that's, it feels rarer and rarer. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually going to get more and more often, right?
Well, I mean, I think it's important that, like, it sounds like they also, like, were like, if you want to play this, you will have to develop all of your own maps. You can't use any of our community resources.
Yeah.
So to me, that strikes as like, that's a lot of extra work for them.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like.
Path of least resistance, maybe?
Path of least resistance. And let's be clear here. Say you piss off your entire user base and they're like, well, what if we just made a different Geoguessr?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the concept, like,
Yeah, somebody else can make that game still.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just keep the, like, if this is upsetting your player base enough, why not listen to them?
Yeah. It's important to keep your fans happy.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. If you think that we are keeping you happy, that's a great place to go support us. You can also go to our YouTube channel. It's LRRVG. That's where all the video game stuff gets hosted. And in fact, the people who are supporting that channel are going to show up here after the boot. So thank you for everything you do for us, because we try to do for you as well.
I thought you were going to say LRRVEG.
Oh, Lurveg.
Yeah, that's where the spiralizer concept is.
Promises. I don't know how.
Promises.
Promises.